Alright guys, we are now on the last video of what I'm making. So I showed you that template. I made that template using a template that I got from Supermetrics, but is originally designed to only be used with Supermetrics. So I had to make some changes. Basically the things that stay the same now are the pictures and those things that we've got on there. But you'll have access to this link so that you can download it too. The link is right here, but I'll also have it in the description. But we're going to click Use Template. So we have these two data sources. That's okay. We don't need them. Copy the report. I'm going to let this load. Perfect. So now we have the blank report. The data isn't hooked up, so it's all mixed up. Now we need to get the data. So I go over here to Add Data Sources. I'm going to remove the two that we already have. Perfect. Let's add our data sources now. So like in the other video, we're going to scroll down and we're going to add our Google Ads first. So I linked up my account here. These are some old accounts that I have. They don't have any data on them right now, so it's going to show zeros, unfortunately, because if I were to use the one that I originally made the video, it wouldn't work. It would just auto-populate the data. But because it's Google Ads, we have all the same fields, which is good to know. We're going to add this report. Wonderful, but we do still need to add Facebook. And so in order to do that, I do want to copy the dummy data that I used in my last video. So we're going to come over here to our dummy data, copy it. Perfect, and now we're going to run back into this. So I've made a Google Drive folder for it, and I've already downloaded it. So I've copy and pasted the data in. I've named it Data for Facebook. Now that we have that ready, I can come up here and I can gather my Google Drive data. That's in that Google Sheet. So we scroll down to here. Now remember, I showed you guys how to get that Facebook data from Facebook Business Manager in my last video. So if you don't remember, you can go ahead and go there. I'm going to go to Owned by Me. Data for Facebook is on the top because it's the last one I made. I'm going to connect that. Okay, remember we've got our metrics and our dimensions. The green is dimensions, the blue is metrics. We're going to plug that in. Wonderful. So now all of our data is in and we can start plugging in the data to the templates. So we need to select our data source. Because this is Google Ads and I'm not comparing it to Facebook, rather I've got a box next to it for Facebook. I don't need to blend any of my data. I can just pull from Google Ads. Now remember, I have zero information, so that's why it's showing as a 0%. With an active Google Ads account, it will show actual numbers. And it's important to have this comparison here because this NA will actually show, a 5% change from the last or previous period. And you want it to be previous period. So you do the same thing with the Facebook. You come in here and you add your data for Facebook. And you want to come over here. So this one says Facebook ads. So this is something we do need to make sure is right. Here's all of the data fields that I have. Right now I'm comparing click-through rates. So let's go ahead and grab click-through rates, plug it in. Awesome. Now we want to name it so that it's visual, it's pretty. So we can go ahead and name this Facebook. I spelled Facebook wrong. Sorry. Got a couple tabs open, so my computer is freaking out on me a little bit. Facebook click-through rates. Remember in the last video, if you want it to be proper percentages, then you need to make sure that you make that in your data. But for sake of time, I haven't done that. Our dimension, we want it to be days. Okay, so we have that data ready to go, all nice and pretty. Make sure this one has it all right as well. Yep, click-through rate. And again, if we wanted to rename this, This one isn't visual, so it's not as important, but we can do Google Ads click-through rate. Perfect. Okay. Now I'll show you how to make the line graphs. This is where we need to blend our data. So we go ahead and click on Blend Data. We pull from our first source. Sorry, my screen's a little small, so that's why we have to scroll like that. So I'm going to pull from my first source, and I'm going to drag and drop the dimension I want. Again, this one needs to be days because we're measuring trends over time. And then the metrics, this is a little trick to make sure things go a little quicker and you don't have to create your data sources again, or your blended data, is go ahead and drag everything into your metrics. So we're going to drag each one of these into metrics, and then we're going to find metrics that match these ones in Google Ads here in a second. Remember, I mentioned in the last one, frequency is not important in this because we're not comparing frequency to anything. So impressions, leads, reach, again, not comparing it to anything, so that's fine. Don't need to worry about date range. So now that we've got this set, we can create our data source here. We're going to be pulling it from Google Ads, which we have there. Okay, remember, join keys have to be the same. So we're going to be using days. Our dimension is already plugged in with join keys. It needs to be a join key to be a dimension, or a dimension needs to be a join key or it won't work. And now we can start pulling in metrics that match these ones. So account spend is equal to cost for Google. So we pull in cost. Now we have clicks. Pretty straightforward, nothing special there. So let's pull in clicks. Perfect. Now we've got cost per lead. And what that's equal to, because remember originally leads were equal to conversion, so that's cost per conversion. And the way that Google recognizes that is cost / conversion. Let's drag that in there. Okay, now we have click-through rate. Same there. Drag it in. Impressions, also the same. Spelled impressions wrong. Okay. And then we have leads and cost per click. Oh, sorry, leads are equal to conversions. I apologize. Okay, we have to scroll down again to the metrics, not the dimensions, and cost per click. Perfect. Now all of those are equal to each other. Everything's set there. We can go ahead and save. Actually, I'm going to rename it. So we've got blended data, final set, hopefully. Okay, now we're going to save our data. Once that's been saved, we can exit out. We've got blended data final sets, but now everything's plugged in there. So we need to get rid of what we aren't going to be using. So since we're measuring click-through rates, we're going to keep our click-through rates. Oh, I accidentally deleted that one. That's okay. I can come in here and get my click-through rates. Okay. Perfect. We're not going to be comparing data, so we don't need to be worrying about this. And now we have that there. If for visual reasons you want to do this and rename it, so we have click-through rates for Facebook. So we do Facebook click-through rate. If you guys remember in my last video, I described how you can make this percentage actually work. Because I put it in wrong with the dummy data originally, we're going to go ahead and leave that, but just make sure your data shows proper percentages, because when you download it, it'll show them as whole numbers rather than the 0.15. It'll say it's 15. So make sure that you set that data properly before you upload it. That's those. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to dive into our bar graphs. Again, we're using our blended data. So we're going to come over here. Oh, sorry, we're making blended data. I didn't want that. We want data sources, and we have blended data final set. I'm going to click that. I'm going to go back, and now I'm going to create our dimension. Our dimension is days. You can also drag it in over here if you need to. And we have Facebook and Google Ads. Now, what are they specifically? This one is our amount spent, which is right. We're running costs, so our amount spent is for Facebook. I can go ahead and enter through that, and then check this one. And this one is Google Ads, because we wanted it to say Google Ads right there. And it says it's cost, which again is correct. Wonderful. So that's looking right. We have things ready to go there, and we can do that to the next one. I want to make sure that it does it right for you guys 2 times in a row. Remember, we need to find our blended data source that we created, run back, drag in our day, and let's see if this one's correct as well. This one's impressions. So yes, this one's correct as well. Hopefully that's how it works for you guys, but if not, you know how to change the names and you know how to upload the right things. Something that is important to this is we're sorting by day in ascending order. So that means from June 26th through July 14th, we're there. But we also want to do something special for these ones, because say someone wants to run a 3-week analysis, that's a lot of bar graphs. It can be kind of cumbersome to view. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to custom, and within the custom we're going to create a fixed field. We can do last 7 days, whatever it may be, but we're going to do fixed, and I'm going to make it July 7th to July 13th. I'm going to apply that. And now that's going to change. So each time that they open it, it's going to only stay that format. So when you do send this to your clients, make sure you remember to change that after those periods have moved forward. A great way to fix that so you don't have to change it every time is just to make it last 7 days. It's a great way to fix that problem so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, so that's how we make our bar graphs so we can do analysis between them. And now finally, I want to show you this last page. I've created a just normal table for us to read. So within this table, within the table, we're not going to be using blended data. Now you can use blended data when building a table, but in order to do that with Facebook, you need to, instead of doing days as your dimension, you need to make campaigns as your dimension. But because we don't have that right now, I'm just going to go ahead and put on Google Ads. And then in here we can do search terms. We can do, with Google Ads that works great. It isn't cross-compatible to Facebook, but you could, instead of making this search terms, you could make them campaigns. So instead of that, we can throw campaigns in. You can throw multiples on, but say it's just campaigns, and then we want to see how clicks, how average cost, and then we'd come over here and we'd sort based off of what? What is most important to us? Maybe it's clicks in ascending order, so, or descending, whatever you're wanting to show. Maybe it's highest click-through rate. Maybe it's the most clicks. Maybe you want the most conversions. And then you can have a secondary sort, thirds, or secondary, just secondary. And then as long as we keep auto right here, our dates are going to stay right. Whenever the client changes it, when they come and view it, it's going to work for them. So because I don't have any data to pull from, that's why it's not showing any. Now finally, I want to show you how to send it to the client. So you come over here to view, you're looking at it, you're making sure it looks right. Everything seems pretty good. Maybe you're wanting to color brand, so instead of making these blues and greens and reds, you're using the colors of your client. And then you come over here and you share this report. What I've found is easiest is a shareable link. Just throw it in your email, and it says can view, or you can make it can edit. I recommend can view. Copy that, and then send it in an email to them. Click on this link to see how you're performing. And that's how you do it, guys. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. Have a great day.